Greetings, family. Peace. Make sure you're within the sound of my voice. Can y'all give me a heads up to let me know that you are? All right. It's Professor Griff. And of course, y'all already know this is Arm the Masses. All right. Should have got me some ginger this morning or something. But it's Arm the Masses right here with your brother, Professor Griff. We got a very special show today. I'm coming off of a very informative, very um, beautiful conversation I've had this morning on the Carl Nelson show. Shout out to Carl Nelson and shout out to everyone on the staff there at the Carl Nelson show. I thank you very much for joining me. joining me. Thank you for joining me this morning. All right. First thing I want to say, hopefully I can put it up on the screen if it'll let me. Hold on, fam. I just want to let people know of a scam artist who is hard at work. I mean, this dude is like hard at work, especially the people in my family. All right. Let me see. I'm not sure if I can find it right now, but I think I screenshotted it. Did I? No, I didn't. Hold on for a second. Nope, it's not there. It's not that. Anyway, there's a scam artist kind of using Soleil's picture. I mean, yo, he's going like hard. He's going in like just trying to get anybody. I've had a couple of family members hit me up that said that scam artist is trying to get information and that kind of stuff. So if anything is coming from you with Soleil's picture on it, don't fall for it, fam. Nope, not at all. So I'm just putting that word out there. I was trying to find the info, but I think Facebook went to work and kind of getting rid of it. Let me see. Let me see if it's on my other. Let me see if it's on my other channel. All right. Nope, I don't see it. No. All right. If I run across it during the course of the show or whatever, I will show everyone what I'm talking about. I'm going to look on one other page to see. I mean, this scam is hard. And I say he because he revealed himself by changing his picture profile, using Soleil's picture sometimes, using another woman's picture sometimes. So, yeah. All right. I don't see it. When I find it, I'll put it up and let everyone know and alert everyone. But do not fall for the scam. All right. If my name and email address and information and phone number is not attached to it, all right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let me get back to where I was at. All right. Okay, fam. Today's show, we're going to be talking about, as the book title, as the thumbnail says, it's the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, book 3. So let me explain that. So, as you already know, and what I was explaining on the Carl Nelson show today is I am doing book 3. This is book 1. Of course, y'all already know book 2. And we are doing book 3 with some updated information on what's been going on in the music industry since I put out book 2. What I'm going to do is go back into this book in particular, and I'm going to do a workshop leading up to book 3. All right, leading up to book 3. So I put it, let me see. I'm scrolling on my Facebook page. I did I mean, like I said, it's a very interesting study, and I broke the workshop down into a 6-week course for everyone to kind of dive in and just kind of just do a simple dive into the psychological covert war on hip hop. All right, so hold on. Nope, not that. Not that. I think here we go. The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. It's actually a workshop, family. And what I did was, like I said, I broke the Psychological Covert War down, and with each chapter that I thought it was necessary that I've done further research on, what I did was I added on to that chapter and ended up writing the book. The book ended up writing itself. So I broke the chapters down into a 6 weeks course, and you can go right here on Eventbrite. What I'll do is I'll take the information, I'll put it up on Facebook, send some information out to make sure it goes on the other platforms. But you could go to www.warriorsinnergarden.org. The information is there, and or go to public NME, publicnme.me. The information is there. All right. Now, if you're having issues with that page, just go to my other site, professorgriff.me, and the information is to direct you to where you can go. All right. Okay. So before we start this conversation on the Psychological Covert War, Book 3, all right, I put the link inside of the chat where you can go and you can register. And or I actually put it on the thumbnail. Scan this QR code. Scan that QR code. It should take you right to where you can sign up for the workshop. All right, the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, Book 3. Updated information on the music industry. Join the workshop now. The workshop is every Wednesday night, all right, for the next 6 weeks. Every Wednesday night. All right. Scan that code that you see on the screen right now. Leave it up there for a second. Thanks to my man Jason Rodriguez and the DMV area. Shout out to Carl Nelson and his staff. All right. If you scan that code, it'll take you to warriorsinnergarden.org. And you should be able to access information on how to sign up for the workshop. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm taking it that out of the now probably over 1,000 books that I've sold, Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. Everyone should have read it by now. So either you got the ebook or you got the physical book. All right. Now, when you sign up for the workshop, if you sign up for all 6 weeks, you get the ebook for free where you can follow along. All right. As we prepare book 3. All right. Now, with that, we're also doing a workshop, a writer's workshop. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the information for the writer's workshop. In the meantime, in between time, I'm going to need everybody within the sound of my voice right now, all right, to go to my Bandcamp page and support independent artists. The other day, I released an EP, and the EP is entitled Rebel Alchemy. Rebel Alchemy. It's 5 songs that I've actually recorded and have done with Soleil, which we didn't even realize we had 5. We was on our way for doing number 6, which we're writing a song right now called Puppets. And y'all can just imagine what that's about. But right now, everyone go over to Bandcamp and purchase the EP. Most importantly, when you purchase the EP, leave me a comment. Well, leave us a comment. All right. It lets other people know that there are other people checking for independent artists. The EP is called Rebel Alchemy. All right. Rebel Alchemy. All right. The EP by Professor Griff and Soleil. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the information on the workshop. All right, here it is. Let me see if I can put it up in StreamYard. I think I can find it. Here it is right here. Let me pull it up. All right. Now, I want to invite everyone. This was for the digital cipher. And the digital cipher was inviting people to come be a part of the writers' workshop called Griots to Gods. Teachers, jegnas, healers, musicians, artists, and warriors. All right. And this is happening in Douglasville at the Goddess Temple of Love. All right. Griots to Gods. All right. And what I'm doing is I'm inviting storytellers. If you're a good storyteller and you play an instrument, come on. If you can spit some lyrics a cappella, come on. If you're a Baba in the community, if you're a jegna, if you're a poet, if you're an MC, all right? So the Griots to Gods workshop is happening July 5th at 1 p.m. All right? Prior to that, I want to be able to have a serious digital cipher Zoom call. All right? Because as I've often said to the audience and to the family, is the fact that we're vetting and we're screening people. Everyone's just not allowed up in the space. It's a sacred space, and we have to guard it and treat it as such. All right? All right. So I'm going to be the facilitator July 5th. What we're going to do is have the pre-registration and have people sign up to be a part of the Griots to Gods. Now, this is a situation where I would like to bring in an elder to come speak to us. We got to put our nickels and dimes together to do that, fam. All right? If you want more information, my phone number is 678-557-2919, or you can see me in person this Saturday at Tassili's Raw Reality. All right? The Wizards of Raw. All right, and or you could come through and check us out, and check me and Soleil out and the Soul Om out at the City Winery next Friday. All right, let me see if I can locate that flyer. The City Winery. With our good sister, the Flowicist, is going to be at the City Winery. All right, I'll pull that flyer up later on so I can show everyone. All right. Okay. So let's dive into this subject. I'm just curious as to hear what everyone has to say about the particular subject. When we talk about the psychological covert war, especially with what Diddy is going through right now, what Tory Lanez is going through right now, what other people are going through right now, it's a very serious subject. All right, because what you're seeing now, and I said this on the Carl Nelson show earlier, what you're seeing now is the end result of everything that I've talked about. Then we're seeing the end results of it. We're actually seeing the end result of what's going on. All right. I'm trying to find the Flowicist flyer for what's going down. I got it. Hold on. My man Rabbit Pro D Boyd posted it. Sean Carter posted it. Soleil posted it. All right. Make sure you get a hold of the flyer and you post it. All right. I'm going to send it to my computer here so everyone can see it. All right. Here it is right here. The Soul Ohm Collective, along with, matter of fact, the Flowicists live at the City Winery. First U.S. tour and live with a full band. June 13th. All right. Special guest openers. Professor Griff presents Soul Ohm featuring Soleil. All right. I need everybody to copy this right now. Screenshot your screen. Everyone needs to be sending this out right now. All right. Everyone needs to be sending this out right now. Come support the Flowicists live at the City Winery. First U.S. tour with a full band. And we have the distinct honor and pleasure for opening up for her at the City Winery in Atlanta, June 13th and 14th. All right. I believe it's the 6:30 show. All right. I want to see everyone in the building. All right. Everyone in the building. All right. One last thing before we get the conversation started. Well, the conversation's already started. I'm just saying. All right. Let me see. Let me find the flyer once again so I can put it on deck. If you're available this Sunday, make sure you'll come through and check out the Soul Cinema Sundays. All right. I want to be able to put that flyer up in a minute. Not right now. I got too many flyers, too many things happening. All right. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. Let's go. The Psychological Covert War. What I addressed and laid out on the Carl Nelson show this morning was very critical simply because I laid out aspects of what I laid out on this show. I talked about the state of black music. I've talked about the Harvard report. All right. If you do not have the state of black music and black culture, if you do not have the Harvard report, hit your brother, Professor Griff, up. Of course, y'all know how we do it. You leave a donation. I send you the information. You take the information and you pass it on to 3 other people. All right. I talked about the Harvard report. And in a nutshell, hold on. Let me see. Harvard report talks about. All right. The Harvard report, a study of soul music environment, authored by Dr. Logan H. Westbrook. Logan H. Westbrook. Some of y'all have this document and y'all received it from me. All right. But let's lock in. Now, this particular Harvard report is a pivotal document in the history of black music and the American recording industry. As we approach towards people submitting their music for the Grammys, we got to keep the Harvard report in mind. All right. Commissioned in 1972 by CBS Records and conducted in collaboration with the Harvard Business School, the report examined the state of soul music and proposed strategies for CBS to expand its presence in the black music market. Below is a 10-point overview of the report's 10 key themes. Number 1 was purpose and commissioning. CBS Records sought to understand to capitalize on the growing soul music genre. It had to tap in to what black people were doing in a nutshell. How are we selling music? How are we making music? Who are those artists that were popping at that particular time? Then it goes into talk about the market and analysis. The report provided an in-depth analysis of the soul music industry, highlighting its cultural significance and economic potential. It emphasizes the need for major labels to engage more deeply with black artists. All right. In other words, family, they wanted to buy up black independent record labels. Black independent record labels. It wanted to buy up black independent record labels. It wanted to make sure the small independent black artist and record label, all right, was subservient to the major labels. This is where you get in the music industry. You'll get a major label, but you'll get someone like a Death Row, or you'll get someone like a Def Jam, Island Records, or some other records, Tommy Boy or whatever, linked to a major label who has major distribution. So the major label will take on a smaller subsidiary label, all right, or a sub-label to actually do the work, and then funnel that artist through the distribution of the major label. All right. Well, this was back in the 1970s. See, it's things like this that we need to put in place. It's things like this that we need to put in place in the psychological covert war on hip hop, book 3. The Psych War on Hip Hop, book 3. These are the things that we need to put in place. All right. So the Harvard report goes a lot deeper than that. I'm just skimming over some things. And then we need to understand the destruction of black music through a book that I have talked about, not only in my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, but the thousands of interviews and lectures that I've done. I often talked about this book, The American Directory of Certified Uncle Toms, where it talks about, hold on now, don't go nowhere. I think my IG froze. Hold on for him. Psych War on Hip Hop, book 3. I had to reboot my Instagram, fam. I'm sorry for the delay. Hold on. Nope, cancel. We're going to hit done. And I'm just going to reboot it so we're all on the same page. All right? Like I said, I have, shout out to Karen White. Hold on. Karen White will be in Stockbridge, Georgia, June 14th. All right. Shout out to Derek Muhammad. Karen got a whole slew full of dates. But make sure you'll check her out in Atlanta, June 14th. All right. Shout out to my sister, Karen White. All right. All right. In any event, fam. In any event, you often heard me talk about this book, The American Directory of Certified Uncle Toms. Well, when I go in the book, it shows you basically what the Harvard report was talking about on how, in the whole idea of Uncle Tomming, some people, some artists like Lionel Richie and other people chose to cross over. Chose to cross over. So when you start talking about the Lionel Richies and other artists at that particular time that really basically was refusing to do music that spoke to the soul. This is how come when you look at someone like Michael Jackson, you would think Michael Jackson and Prince is more of a pop artist, as opposed to R&B and or soul. So when you start looking at James Brown and Rick James and other people, you might look at it like, okay, well, damn, what's the difference between Michael Jackson, Rick James, Prince, James Brown and other people, right? Well, it's a big difference simply because when you start to look at the idea on what the Harvard report talked about, the same thing they started doing with Michael Jackson, but they started doing that when Michael Jackson was in the Jackson 5. All right? They started doing that a long time ago, working on these artists. All right? Okay. So when we start talking about when I began to formulate, to restructure the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop to do book 3, I said, okay, let me start from the Harvard report. Let me start on the destruction of Black music. All right, not necessarily start, but that's where I started pulling together information. And then as things unfolded with Suge Knight, as things unfolded with a lot of the female rappers that have came in the industry and gone, as things unfolded with the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, I'm rolling things back. All right, when the drama went down with Jay-Z being sued, and I'm going back now, and then Beyonce with the country artist stuff and the music, and I'm going back, and I'm taking notes. And I said there needs to be a book 3. All right, I am going to dive deeper into what Edward Bernays talked about. I am going to dive deeper into the Tavistock Institute of Human Relation. All right, I'm going to show you another book, a couple of other books that I pulled from early on, way before I even hooked up with Black Dot, way before he put the thought in my mind to even do the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. Shout out to Black Dot. All right. I am going to talk about rules of engagement, though. All right. There are some things I'm going to kind of pull from this book as a foundation to do book 3, but I am going to talk about, hold on, Carl Jung. I am going to go deeper into psychology. All right. Unbeknownst to a lot of you guys, I wanted to go to, as they say in England, university. I wanted to go to college and to university to study psychology. Psychology has always been fascinating to me. All right. Okay. Instagram locked me out again. Wow. Okay. I don't even know how to go back in it unless I reboot my phone. All right. So anyway, so now I want to go into why and how is Edward Bernays the father of spin. All right. The century of self, the untold story of controlling the masses through the manipulation of unconscious desires. All right. And then I want to go back into Carl Jung's work. All right. I am going to go back into the whole idea of rap versus hip hop. All right. I am going to talk about the idea of racism and how do we even get to this point. All right. I'm going to go back, the secret covert war on Black America. I'm going to revisit that. All right. Because I need to add in recently of what transpired recently in reference to Chuck D working for the State Department. All of that information needs to be in there, fam. Would you agree or would you not agree? All of that information needs to be. I mean, those people that sold out at 10% off, they need to be in there in book 3. As I did with the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, I'm going to write it and put it together such that a 14, 15-year-old can understand. This look, when you start writing books and you putting big gigantic pictures in the books and arrows and websites and look at it. I mean, it's like jam-packed. The CIA's war against the 60s counterculture. Mae Brussels. I gotta have her in there. I gotta revisit. Hold on, let me get back on Instagram. Hold on. I gotta revisit John Potash. Some say Potash. That's cool. I believe he says Potash. I got to revisit his work. I got to revisit John Potash's work. The FBI's war on Tupac Shakur and black leadership. All right. I didn't come on today to call the roll. I just came on today to let people know book 3 is coming and that I need you guys to kind of come sign up for the workshop. If you're just joining me, this is Professor Griff. I'm going to put the QR code back on the screen for people to sign up for the workshop. All right. The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. Moving towards book 3. This is the QR code to scan for the workshop. It's going to be updated information after every class, every Wednesday, starting July 16th. All right. Starting July 16th. All right. Starting June 16th. We're going to work our way through July 23rd, I believe. All right. 6 weeks course. All right. It's limited number of seats. So I'm going to need you to get in soon, like right now, ASAP. Scan the QR code or just go to public NME. All right. Boy, scammers, they don't stop. Scammers they work in shifts. These scam artists be working in shifts, man. Anyway. All right. Back to the conversation. All right. I know IG be like, if you move that camera one more time. Anyway. All right. I'm going to put the link, the invite in the chat. All right. If anyone wants the book, and you, all right, now you don't bought yourself a well-deserved. Hold on. Now, all right. Okay. Let me see if I can find the correct all right, here we go. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Anyone wants to come on to discuss this topic on where we are in hip hop, what's the state of black music right now? This is Black Music Month. So we will be talking about black music this whole month. I'm actually doing a workshop in person called Griots to Gods. All right. I will be there at Tassili's Raw Reality this Saturday with my band of Soul Ohm. We getting down. I will be there with the Flow Assist at the City Winery in Atlanta, 2 shows. All right. Okay. Now, one of the other books that you probably don't have, you probably want to contact me or just research it. Actually had the pleasure of meeting this gentleman, Stephen Jacobson. This is an early kind of copy of his book I used to carry around with me because I studied it and read it. No exaggeration. Probably 6 times. All right. Okay. Mind Control in the United States. If you look online, you might find it. It's called Mind Control in America. Stephen Jacobson. The introduction by Anthony Sutton. So if you do not know who these 2 authors are, look them up. Anthony C. Sutton and Stephen Jacobson. Get this book. Contact Stephen and get this book. You will not regret it. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. I'm going back into this book in order to do the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop, Book 3. So you know if I'm recommending it like that. Come on, fam. Stephen Jacobson. Stephen Jacobson. All right. Stephen Jacobson. Mind Control in America. As a matter of fact, let me just read you one thing out of the book so you'll know the depths of where this book goes in order for you to build some foundational knowledge to even have this discussion. All right. Hold on. Mind Control in the United States, Stephen Jacobson. Just the introduction, fam. I know I beat my introduction up. Just the introduction. All right. The most effective way to protect yourself from subconscious manipulation is to be aware of how it works. Stephen Jacobson, author of Mind Control in the United States, is a film technician experienced in subliminal techniques used in the communication media. All right. Subliminal perception is a deliberate process created by communications technicians by which you receive and respond to information and instructions without being consciously aware of how the instructions work or what it's even saying to you. So they program these things on a subconscious level, i.e., where I got the concept of the psychological, the study of the psyche, the psychological covert war on hip hop. Covert meaning hidden. And then if you dive into Black Dot's book, Hip Hop Decoded, all right, it'll take you further. All right. So this is where I'm at with putting the information together, putting the workshop together to give you the foundational steps on what we need to put together to move towards the Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop Book 3, but deeper than that, to give you a foundation. So when you look at a Puffy trial, you be like, oh, Griff talked about that. I know where I'm at with that. You can see the handwriting on the wall. All right. Okay. Urban Graffiti _86. Peace. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. All right. So now, get Stephen Jacobs' book. All right. If you want to place yourself in the center of the movement, I suggest you get Center of the Movement. Dr. Khalid El-Hakim and Derek Jenkins. Get this book right now. You might even be able to find it on sale. If you can't find it on sale, contact Dr. Khalid El-Hakim. They've been collecting hip-hop memorabilia for 35 some odd years now. Center of the Movement. All right. I have to be able to use books like this to place these particular things in the center of the movement. Like, what do you mean, Professor Griff? Hold on. Can I give you all an example? Y'all got a minute? Hold on 1 second. Sit tight. So in my, hold on, traveling with Khalid El-Hakim, I was able to locate some Professor Griff trading cards. All right. Yeah, that's a young Professor Griff. All right. I think it was Rap Snacks or Rap Pack. All right. So even in traveling and working with the Black History Mobile Museum, okay, I got you. And then I have a few more that I found. That's another Professor Griff Rap Pack card. So these things may not be valuable to you. And so when you start collecting, as Khaled and Derek collects, Khaled El Hakim, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and then you go like myself as an artist to do research on myself, and you go to find these things and you see them online for $30, $40, $50. I'm like, whoa, slow your roll. For real. I'm like, all right, how much more valuable will they be if Professor Griff signed it in person for you? That when you start talking about centering yourself in the movement, you have to be able to do that if you're an artist and you made an impact on people's lives in this work. All right. So now in the Psychological Covert War Book 3, I'm going to go deeper into the metaphysics, thanks to my good brother Black Dot. All right. Okay. So everybody follow me. You know where I'm coming from with that? All right. So I have this memorabilia of me in Washington, D.C., in the museum there, Smithsonian, the Grammy Museum. This stuff means something when you start talking about artifacts that are used as a tool to educate the younger generation coming behind us. All right. Excuse me, I'm looking kind of wrecked today. I'm trying to get my Marvin Gaye on. All right. All right. Another book that I would suggest that you're building your digital library, all right, that I suggest you get. All right. Sacred Sounds. This is one of the books I read prior to putting together a Warrior's Asapo Soul. My album Asapo Soul. I read this book and started having dialogues with people. All right. And then preparing the Asante Soul album, I had to go back into this book. All right. Sacred Sounds by Ted Andrews. Sacred Sounds by Ted Andrews. I go over all of these books in about 15 more in the course. All right. I'm just touching the surface right now. Transformation through music and word. All right. Well, hell, if you're going to call yourself a professor, all right, we got to dive into how music corresponds with your zodiac sign, what colors you should be wearing, what scales, music scales, all right, you should be focusing in on and kind of using. We need to talk about the chakras. Someone say chakras, whatever your dialect is, whatever tongue you're using. All right. Meditation of energy through the chakras. You have to know how to meditate while you're meditating. What's the best meditation for you? All right. What frequency you should be producing your music in. All right. This is what I talked about on the Carl Nelson show this morning. All right. I only have a few more minutes on the broadcast. So I'm saying to you, fam, diving into the Psychological Covert War Book 3 is challenging. Because when you start talking about those things that destroyed Black music, you have to come back behind that and undo some things. Trent, what's up, Trent? What's good with you, man? Enemies Public, salute. All right. I even have to put on there what Ibrahim Traore said to Burna Boy. I want you to come perform. It's cool that you want to come perform for free for the people, but not right now. Not right now. All right. 10 points of destruction of black music through certified Uncle Toms. Co-opting black sound for white profit. Promotion of the minstrelsism and coonery. All right. Clear Vision Media, thank you very much for stepping up to the plate, man, for the donation. Really appreciate you. All right. Turning away from cultural roots. In order for you to be successful, I don't need you to sing and rap about that black-ish. All right. This is what they're saying. All right. Silencing revolutionary lyrics. That was purposely done. Silencing revolutionary lyrics. Serving the corporate masters. Shifting from healing to harmful frequencies. All of these things will be in the course, and all of these things will be in book 3. All right. The glorification of materialism and violence. Erasure of the griot tradition. We're going to bring the griot tradition back. We're going to tell the stories. That's why I am doing Griots to Gods. July 5th in Douglasville, Georgia. But we're going to have a digital cipher. All right. Online so we can register people. Blocking of independent black ownership. The distortion of the message of hip hop on a global scale. All right. Okay. So now, let's go back over on how you register. How do you get in? Griots to Gods, Writers Workshop. Hip hop, rap, R&B, soul, whatever kind of music you want to come present. Bring your instruments. All right. It's the art of storytelling. These are on the same day. Writers Workshop and the Art of Storytelling, July 5th, facilitated by yours truly, Professor Griff, at the Goddess Temple of Love in Douglasville, Georgia. All right. There's a QR code to scan. We're going to have a serious digital cipher Zoom call. All right. We had one, but we're going to have another one. All right. So we can get people registered to, so we can start vetting people. All right. All right. Because we want to be able to say, okay, we want so-and-so MC to come be a part of this. Bring your instruments and tell some stories. We're responsible for young people, so we can't put anybody in front of young people. All right. All right. Next. What I'm going to need everyone to do right now is go to Bandcamp. All right. ProfessorGriff.bandcamp.com. ProfessorGriff.bandcamp.com. Right now, do me a favor, fam. Support independent artists by purchasing Rebel Alchemy EP of myself and Soleil. All right. Please, I need y'all to leave a comment. Listen to the music, leave a comment on Bandcamp. It's very important and it means something. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Anybody want to come on to discuss this for the last 10 minutes we have on the broadcast? All right. Urban Graffiti _86. Thank you very much. All right. If y'all need more information on the Griots to Gods, hit me up 678-557-2919. 678-557-2919. 2919. I'm gonna put my phone number in the chat over here. LP, what's good with you, bro?
What's going on, brother?
Turn your computer down.
LP,
or your phone.
There you go.
You gotta turn
How's
it
that?
down. You good? What's happening with you?
I'm pretty good, brother. How you doing?
I'm maintaining, man. Maintaining. It's Black Music Month, so I'll be doing aspects of Black music. Yeah, he got the PE shirt on, representing. I'm just and the books. Damn.
Hold on. Wait.
He said I ain't done. And he got You Are the Song That You Sing.
Hold on.
And Acapella Revolution. Damn.
Hold on.
Oh, damn. And Warriors, bruh. Damn. All right. Man, you got Acapella Revolution, Analytics. Oh, give thanks. I gotta salute you, good bro. Man. And he got the shirt.
Oh, I got the hat. I didn't even pull it out the closet. Look.
Right, he said, I got the hat. I didn't even want to pull that out.
The one you autographed, I can't even wear it. I got it like mounted. I can't.
I hear you, good bro. So you been all right?
Yes, sir. Been all right, man. You know, just fighting these battles, you know, on the home front and in public as I'm teaching these Stop the Bleed classes and teaching CPR, traveling across the country, doing a lot of that stuff. So,
give thanks.
Absolutely.
Give thanks.
You know, still working with Doc. We're working on some different projects and stuff. And so when I saw you come on, because I don't get all the notifications every time you come on live. And a lot of times when you come on, it's like, I don't know what's going on with IG. I know they keep messing with you and all this stuff, but I was like, man, when I saw that, I'm like, IG is really having a whole lot of issues. And I know that you had talked before about what's the other platform you go on? I forget, it's a Black-owned platform you started being on with your content.
Yeah, I tried that for a minute, but they came after me there.
Oh. And weren't you doing Twitch also?
Yeah, I was doing Twitch.
Okay.
And it was hard to get people to migrate from here to Twitch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and people just weren't up for that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It was hard for that transition to try to get people. Yeah.
Look, I got one question with 27 parts. I'm gonna give you 5 of the parts. Okay. So book 3 is coming soon. What's the release date of that?
I was trying to get it done sometime September or August. I mean September or October.
Okay.
I got caught up because an idea came to me one night and I could not let it go. And it ended up being an ebook and it's almost done. It's called The Birth. It's called The Birth. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. But what was your idea?
I had a conversation with one of my first cousins. He's like my younger brother. And he had called me. He said he had a conversation at work and he was talking about hip hop with some of these young cats that he worked with. And, you know, from the Migos to present, these young folks look at, from the Migos to present, they're considered new school by a lot of the cats that he talks to. Everybody that preceded Migos is considered old school. I said, okay, I can go with that. You know, I said, what was the conversation? He said, you know, they really didn't have any history of the music. And I said, like what? He said, one of the guys said that Drake is a better hip hop artist in terms of lyrics than Jay-Z. And I said, well, I mean, everybody has the right to their opinion. You know, I mean, you know, some people love what Drake says and all this stuff. Some people look at him like he's a culture roast and all kinds of stuff like that. And I said, for me, when I think of people in terms of lyricism, Drake is not the first person that comes to mind. He's more of a pop hip hop artist. I think of people like a Karis One, a Rakim. I think
Right,
of
right.
a Chuck D.
Yeah.
I think of a lot of the stuff that you all did
Big
and do.
Daddy King.
Big Daddy, oh my God, BDK. Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
So when I think about hip hop from a historical perspective, I say I don't have a problem with a lot of the newer rappers. My only issue is, I mean, I'm 54. I want to at least understand what you're saying. This is not a conversation like where we're talking about fast flow, like a Chip Fool or a Twister who can spit out a lot of bars,
Right.
in a short amount of time. We're not talking about a fast flow. We're talking about, can I understand what you're talking about, even if it's about some party and bullshit or what have you? So that sparked that conversation. And so when I saw that you came on today and we're talking about the new book, I was like, oh man, you know what? I wonder if he's going to address more of that, because I know you always come from a historical perspective. I wonder how deep he may even get into some of that stuff, because these new artists and the younger generation, if you ask them about Public Enemy, they don't even have an idea. They may know Flav, but they don't know about you. They won't even mention Chuck. They won't even mention. I can't tell you the last time I talked to somebody that's under 30 that I've had a conversation with hip hop that knows anything about Boogie Down Productions or Big Daddy Kane, unless they, oh yeah, I saw that the older guy doing the split and with the pimped out outfits on and all this stuff, and I'm just saying, like, that's all you know about this man,
So who do you think is actually to blame for that? Because you said they don't know, they don't have music history. Well, we've done enough to put information out there so they
Absolutely.
would know. There's documentary films up the wazoo. So much so, hold on one second, good bro. Let me snatch my book.
Okay.
The one that you don't have. I came up with a very thin book for grandmothers and moms and dads on the go, right?
Is
Now
that
you know.
wait? Which one is that?
That's now you know. I don't. This came after. This came after "You Are the Song That You Sing."
Okay, I got to
This
get
book
that.
came after.
Okay.
Now this book is monumental to me because I started out in Africa,
Okay.
and
So
I put the QR codes on every page, so you have you don't have an excuse. You got a phone in your hand. All you have to do is take it, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to this particular subject. I did that on every page. Every single. So when you start talking about hip hop, high infinite power healing our people, you scan the QR code, it'll take you to the temple of hip hop, KRS-One, Minister Server. It'll take you through the history of hip hop. You go to the next page and you start talking about the whispers of the African drum and the griots and those that told the story. You scan the QR code, it'll take you to that documentary film. I did that for every element, for the ancestors. I did it breakdancing, graffiti. We have no excuse now, bro.
none.
We should know the history. All
You
right.
know,
The book is Now You Know. In the immortal words of Biggie, if you don't know, now you
now you
know.
know.
5 elements of hip hop. The
I
5 elements of hip hop.
One of the things that I believe is happening is, most reading is not happening with books. They're happening with these smart devices. They're happening on social media. Uh, a lot of kids and a lot of young folks are not looking towards books. How many, you don't see as many kids in the library, let alone spending time in the library. You don't see, like, how many kids. I can't tell you how many kids that I've seen go in and out of the library, because I don't typically see that unless they're in college. Most kids that you talk to don't have a library card. That was one. It was like, what's in your wallet? I treasured going to the library all the time growing up. I got books and books and books and books all around me, whether they're socially conscious books whether they're revolutionary books, whether they're books on stuff that I teach on, medically speaking. You don't have kids that have these hard copy or paperback books. They have, and even though there's Audible and audio books, a lot of kids don't even have those subscriptions because they're getting
But
all of
do you,
their knowledge and all of their information off of social media. That's become the number
well,
one.
you don't think that's where we should meet young people where they are?
Oh,
Because
absolutely. Right.
they're not. That's a waste of time for us to discuss them going to the
Sure.
library. That's just
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
absolutely. I was just
They're
saying
not
that.
going to read.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that a lot of the young folks are not getting that history information because they're not going to the source, and we play a part in that. I mean, we're the elders, and so we're supposed to sit down as they're growing up, from knee high to a grasshopper, teaching them about the continent of Africa, teaching them about the history of the music, whether it's hip hop,
Well,
every genre of
you don't
music.
think that's happening?
Sorry,
You don't think that's happening?
I don't think it's happening enough.
So let me stop you for a second. So you mean to tell me as many of the discussions that I see on here, on this
Mhm.
cell phone, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and some other places, you really truly don't think that that's happening?
I don't think it's happening like we would like it to happen. I don't think
No,
it's
like
happening with
you,
no. When
like
I
you.
say
We gotta do it like young. We gotta meet them where they are, not
sure,
them meet us where we are.
yes, I'm just talking about strictly the information that's being shared. I'm not saying they're not having conversations, but what are you talking about? What are they talking about? Because a lot of
No,
it
no,
is just
I can point you to about a dozen
yeah,
people that's putting it down. I met a brother online, Professor Solomon.
okay,
I mean, they putting it down, like putting it down. So unless we have done that, I've done that research recently. That's why I'm passionate about it. That's why I'm
absolutely,
stopping you to correct you that it's happening, bro. But if you're not there to witness it, then you won't know that it's happening.
which is why I
So many people
lean.
that take it, pardon me.
I was saying, which is why I lean on people like you to because you're getting that information that I may not have or have seen. So that's why I'll reach out to him like, hey Griff, what's going on in this realm or what's going on with this conversation?
Right.
And this is why I do
There are people having the
right.
conversation in a real way, more so than you would ever imagine, man. You understand? Like, for example, this gentleman right here, Trinity McCullough. Hip hop is a culture and a lifestyle, whereas rap is entertainment. This guy is way in the Philippines.
Okay.
So it's happening.
It's happening.
Nita T, Nita 84 industry. The industry is doing their best to hide the true origins of hip hop. That's why gangster rap is so popular. The industry only advertises the most popular character from any particular group. I blame it on that fact and the fact that it's the radio. I blame the corporate takeover of radio. That's what I talked about earlier when I talked about the what's the name report, the Harvard report. So yeah, you're right though. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right.
Mm.
They removed access to BC youth because overwhelming choices. So we got to understand we're not on the websites where the young people are.
Mm.
We're just not meeting them where they are. I choose to.
Okay.
That's
I
why
know with
my book. That's why my book is written for a 14-year-old.
yeah. So when I remember when I first got the first book, Psychological Warfare, Covert Warfare on Hip Hop, one of the things I thought about is how many hip hop artists, let's just start with the artists themselves, have read this book, even though that this book exists. They're in the industry. How many of their fans know about, or just not just their fans, but how many hip hop fans themselves know about this book? Not a whole lot. This book and the second book, Symbology, should be at the top of Amazon in terms of hip hop literature because you break it down so eloquently, and it's not written in a bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's your dissertation that's not written for people that are like, oh my God, I can't understand what he's talking about. You know, this is too high level for me. Because sometimes that's the excuse that people get. Oh, you know, it's too academic and all this stuff. Well, I mean, you must learn, and you make it very straight. You know, you must learn, and whatever you need to do. You know, everybody's ignorant, but it's that intentional ignorance. Like Dr. King said, the most dangerous thing in the world is sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity, and we sometimes don't take the information that's out there. And I appreciate the knowledge that you share and the people that you network with, because I feel like I'm one of them. And sometimes when you come on, I'm just sitting there and I'm taking notes, I'm recording stuff, I'm like, I'm doing research as you're bringing up stuff, because I don't know all the information that you know. But I'm like, hey, not even a sponge, because a sponge has holes in it, that water's going to drain out. I want to absorb and maintain that knowledge and the information. So when I'm talking to my nephew who just moved in with us, and who just we helped him graduate high school because of the situation he was in, I have these conversations with him and say, hey, you know, you like hip hop. What's your knowledge on? Teach me what you know about hip hop, so we can have that conversation, because I don't want to just feel like, oh, I'm just some old head and I'm not uh, trying to understand what you are listening to, or understand what your perspective is. You know, why do you like Ice Spice? You know, why do you like Megan Thee Stallion? You know, why do you like a Kendrick? Why do you like a Drake? Why do you like some of these artists, Migos or Kodak Black? You know, what do you know about these artists? Tell me more than tell me more about the artists than what you have on your playlist. Because a lot of times when you're having these conversations, or when I'm having these conversations, they can tell you about every song. But what about, you know, like back in the days when we would get albums and CDs and tapes, they had all the liner notes, or linear notes. I used to read that stuff from cover to cover. You don't see that, because most music now is streaming. So you don't get to know about the artists and how they put the album together. You don't see the lyrics. You don't see the producers and the engineers and the arrangers, and who they did a shout out to. I mean, when every Public Enemy album that I owned, especially because I was more of a CD and tape person, I'm telling you, I almost had a photographic memory when you did your first album, when you went solo, Professor Griff and the Last Asiatic Disciples. I'm telling you, my best friend and I, when you did the Black Thanks, I'm telling you, we memorized that stuff from front to end. You know, Musa, Mao Zedong, Ho Chi Minh, Idi Amin, Nelson. I mean, we would say it. I'm telling you, it was almost like we were reciting pi. You know, some people memorize pi 3.14 and they can memorize the whole string. It was like that for us when we would talk about giving Black Thanks from your album. We would talk about, well, who is Ho Chi Minh? I never learned about Ho Chi Minh in school. Who is Idi Amin? I never learned about that man in school. You know, so we would take those lyrics and break them apart and say, hey, how do I learn about this stuff? Because I never heard about these people. And so that's why, for me, that's what hip hop was and is still to me. When I, even for a young person like a Kendrick, or like specifically with Kendrick, when I looked at the Super Bowl halftime show, say what, you know, everybody has their own opinion about it. The symbolism in that, a lot of people didn't get initially when they first watched it. But as I went back and I saw your breakdown of it, well, it wasn't your breakdown. You had a young Black woman who broke down his whole performance. I'm telling you, I was sitting there with goosebumps on my arm. I was like, now, how the hell did Griff find this woman? Because I had never heard of this young lady, and she's not like a big name. Huh?
That's why I'm telling you.
Yes.
All that you're talking about, these people are out there. You got to go find them.
We got to go find them
because of the work that myself, Black Dot, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, Red Pill, Blue Pill, Brother Rich, King Simon, I could go on because of the work, or even with Soleil and other artists, the work that we did. There's other people now that's on this with no names, but they are smart, they're intelligent, they're symbol literate, and they're out there and they're putting this information out there. Trust me, they are. Yeah, they are, bro. More so than you think, though.
And that's why I appreciate your platform and your format, because you're bringing these individuals that I never heard of and that don't have big names behind them. Because to me, I don't need the big name behind you. I just need the information.
Yeah, and that's what the sister was bringing. And she's like,
she brought it.
My attention to the point where I was like, oh, wow, yeah. But I know so many women and so many people like her that they text me and they call me, like, because of you, because of your books, because of your work. I'm like, man, I'm on it. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Oh, I really appreciate you, good bro.
Anytime, brother. I need to get that second book. What's the title?
You know?
The second one after this. Yeah.
Now you know.
Now you know. Okay.
All right. Well, you got my number. Hit me up. All right.
Yes, sir.
Right now, I'm asking people to go to Bandcamp, ProfessorGriff.bandcamp.com, and purchase the EP that me and my wife just did. It's some fire on there, 5 songs. Yeah,
okay.
Hit right
Absolutely.
to the gut. You understand what I'm saying? And please leave a comment. I'm asking everyone to please leave a comment. ProfessorGriff.bandcamp.com. Hold on, let me put it in the chat. Professor Griff.
ProfessorGriff.bandcamp, BANDCAMP.
Yep. Camp.com.
And you said it's a 5-song EP.
Yep. It's called the Rebel Alchemy.
Leave a comment. Rebel Alchemy.
Purchase it and leave a comment, man. I really appreciate it.
You know I always got you, brother.
All right. Love you to life, man.
Tell
Doc I said peace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have Doc out over the summer at the Goddess Temple of Love. So, yeah, you might want to come along with him.
Just give me the dates so I can put it on my schedule.
All right, man.
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings.
Right, take care. Peace. All right. It is 1:15. I got a few more minutes on here. Shout out to Trent. Really appreciate you, man. Let me see. All right. Oftentimes, they don't understand the power of music back in the day, had a certain culture and meaning, but now it's 711. I don't know what the 711 means. Maybe that's a Filipino code or something. I don't know. Clear Vision, you said you bought what yesterday? Or you bought the book or the EP? All right, let me put the address for the EP in the chat. I only got a few more minutes on here, fam. I need y'all to go to Professor. Whoa, hold on. Griff. .bandcamp.com. The name of the EP is Rebel Alchemy. All right, Rebel Alchemy. Someone said, "Can you play a sample?" Y'all are killing me. Y'all already got a sample of it, man. Y'all killing me. Hold on. I'm gonna go. Professor Griff. Rebel Alchemy. That's what the cover looks like. All right. Rebel Alchemy. Let me see.
I don't think I did it. No, nonsense. Of course you do. No, I mean it. I mean it. It's just somebody must have goofed. If I gotta stay here another day, I'm gonna see you. Brain train. You show the having your mainframe. For the quick fix to get rich scheme that got you insane. Leave into track left, then you check back, man. Emoji. Accentuate the lie in your mainframe. Let these bars reflected. It's self-disrespected. These sweaties with 140 characters disconnected. Complex you all around. Thinkers can't still.
Shout out to Rashida Ali. What's good with you, sis?
Interjecting your venom while playing evangelistic. Models and mystics living unrealistic. Selfies and disconnection equating to mental sickness. Distorted ramblings and musings, you want some bitch shit. Unwanted mentions, opinions, why would you risk it? You have no discipline, so you cannot resist it. You ended up on that hit list with karma, she never missed it. Idle chatter and lipstick, materialistic, and posting so you wanna be rich clicks with value in the wrong shit. A drop squad at your door for all the demons in the gossip for likes click. You powerless, no independent thoughts and you drifted. Hypnotic rhythm, strangers' opinions got you addicted. Lead habits of ignorance, breed cognitive dissonance. Social media, digital heroin, and remembrance. Shock me, shaking my damn head. Shaking my damn head. Social media, digital heroin.
That was Social Media, Digital Heroin by myself and my wife Soleil off the Rebel Alchemy album. Matter of fact, the Rebel Alchemy EP. It's just an EP right now. You can go on Bandcamp right now, professorgriff.bandcamp.com, and you can support independent artists. Remember, this Saturday at Tassili's Raw Reality, Wizards of Raw on the West End. All right? Make sure y'all come through. The Soul Arm will be getting down about 4:30. All right? At about 4:30. Shout out to Rashida Ali. Shout out to Ashia Karana, my man Jay Battle. All right, and yours truly, Professor Griff. Now, check this out. We got a special treat when we get down at the city winery with the Flow Assist. Soleil is going to join us, so you'll definitely got to come on through. All right. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I love y'all to life, fam. This is Professor Griff. Thank y'all for hanging out with me for the last hour and a half. All right. I'll see y'all in a minute. All right. Peace. 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 I did have some outro music. I don't know what happened to it, but oh. Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop Book 3. All right, peace, fam. We got it in the stream.